everyone, happy Monday. Last week we talked about Abel, the first member of the Hall of Faith. We explored Abel's sacrifice and offering he made to God as an example of his faith. Abel had a worshiping faith. This week we are talking about Noah. Noah had a working faith. His faith was demonstrated by his work. And we know what work Noah did, don't we? Noah heard a message from God that he needed to build an ark that was larger than most any ship we know of in modern days. God was going to flood the land. He was so disappointed in humanity. Humanity was evil, evil, evil. And so God was just going to flood the earth, and anyone and everyone who was not on that ship would not survive. God told Noah to take 2 of every animal and every creature on board the ship, including Noah's family. And Noah did exactly that. You know, it's funny to think about all the various creatures who were on that ship together, and they were together for a long time. I like to think that that was one of the first examples of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Because all those creatures crawling, all the animals, the humans, had to exist together somewhat peacefully until the floods receded. Noah did exactly as God asked, and the people on board the ark survived. And we know how Noah learned that the floods had receded and it was safe to leave the ark. He sent out a dove twice. And the second time, the dove returned with an olive branch in his mouth. Noah knew that it was safe to leave the ark. And we know that the dove and the olive branch are both symbols of peace. So peace had returned to the land. This is such a wonderful example of faith, isn't it? Some scholars say that Noah had to wait 120 years after he built the ark, or from the beginning of time building the ark until the end, for the floodwaters to come. Others say it was 75 years. But y'all, no matter if it's 10 years or even 2 years, many of us can't stand to wait for something more than a week. Noah had to wait for decades, in some cases, generations. That's a lot of faith. And we often get tied up in the waiting rooms of life, waiting for our answers to come, waiting for solutions to arrive, waiting for clarity to come to our hearts and minds. And that's where faith comes in. The verse that focuses on Noah in the book of Hebrews is Hebrews chapter 11, verse 7. And it talks about faith through waiting. By faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear, built an ark to save his family. When warned about things not yet seen. That's faith. We know that the promise is not yet seen, but it's off in the distance. A couple of videos ago, I talked about how hard it is to imagine waving to the good news off in the distance, knowing it's not yours yet, but it will be if you keep the faith. And Noah's story is so inspirational, just like Abel's was, and just like Abraham's will be next week. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving week. Love, light, abundant blessings, and good food in your belly to each of you. Stay safe. I will see you next Monday. Bye-bye.